You know what time it is.
What's up, y'all? It's Red Pill Vegan, this time riding with Foot Soldier. Today we're going to take a look at Dr. Eric Berg and his new clone, Frank Tufano, and you're going to see how information gets recycled from one generation of social media health influencers down to the next. The question is whether or not anybody verified if the information is correct or has any relevance. So hit that subscribe button and let's check out how Dr. Eric Berg and Frank Tufano attempt to dissuade people from eating a healthy vegan diet.
You know, if we can only obtain vitamin K2, vitamin B12, all these vitamins require animal foods in some way, shape, or form to obtain them optimally. It's hard to justify that a vegan diet is optimal for health.
Number 8, vegan diets. Now, it's very difficult to get certain nutrients if you're a vegan. Number 1, B12, an active form of vitamin A, like retinol, because that's mainly in animal products.
Starting with vitamin A, the plant form of vitamin A is beta-carotene. The true form, the animal form, is retinol. Your body can only convert so much carotene in a day, and it requires fat to be metabolized.
Let's start with vitamin A deficiency. The only explicit case of vitamin A deficiency in a vegan that I was able to find on PubMed was this story where a 6-year-old boy developed vision problems, which his parents erroneously blamed on the kid getting splashed with milk in the eyes at school. It looks like his parents waited 3 months before taking him to the doctor. Subsequently, they refused to follow up with their primary care physician and instead withdrew their kid from school. The kid got worse. The parents took him to an Oriental medical arts practitioner who prescribed herbal eye drops. The derelict child became bedridden and could not see for several weeks prior to hospital admission.
Get special herbal tinctures and eye drops. Don't go and see your doctor. Refuse medical treatment. No, that would be silly seeing a medical doctor. Drink your piss instead. Don't eat sweet potatoes to get a healthy dose of vitamin A. Don't eat a balanced diet. No.
After digging in the research, I did find this article about Indonesian women who were at greater risk of vitamin A deficiency when faced with food scarcity and rising food costs. It looks like fruit and vegetable consumption was associated with reduced odds of developing the symptoms of vitamin A deficiency. It turns out that if you live in a developing country with food security issues and limited economic opportunity, and you don't have enough money to buy fruits and vegetables or animal products and eggs, you might develop a vitamin A deficiency if you try to live on just rice.
You what, mate? I can't just eat white rice if I want to be vegan. I have to eat additional foods as well as white rice. Are you serious? Are you serious? Hi, my name's Fat-soluble, and I'm going to tell you today why you can't eat a vegan diet, because a vegan diet doesn't contain vitamin A or vitamin F or vitamin G, and so you'll die if you eat a vegan diet.
Number 8, vegan diets. Now, it's very difficult to get certain nutrients if you're a vegan. Number 1, B12, an active form of vitamin A, like retinol, because that's mainly in animal products, and vitamin K2, unless you're taking something called natto, which you can get K2 in. That's a fermented soy product.
But vitamin K2, normally only occurs in animal foods. Natto is a fermented soybean food. So again, logically speaking here, in nature, you couldn't actually obtain vitamin K2 from plant foods, but our modern amenities such as soy and fermentation and worldwide food access allow us to obtain K2 in that way. Or you could just be normal and eat animal foods that contain vitamin K2.
Again, it's like Frank is just repeating some stuff he saw on an Eric Berg video. Vitamin K deficiency is rare, but you should talk to your doctor if you are taking anticoagulant medication for blood clots. It looks like vitamin K deficiency usually only develops in people with severe liver disease or malabsorption issues. If anybody can find any research specifically dealing with vegans and vitamin K deficiency, then go ahead and leave a link to that in the comments down below, because I couldn't find anything like that when I was looking in the research. Let me know. Okay, it looks like Dr. Berg and Frank Tufano just want to steer people away from a healthy vegan diet or a low-fat plant-based diet by emphasizing fat-soluble vitamins.
Number 7, low-fat diets. Fat-soluble vitamins are in fatty foods. So if you're low fat, you're going to be missing vitamin A, D, E, and K. Okay?
So let's get into the meat of the discussion. Vitamin A, vitamin D3, vitamin K2, fat-soluble vitamins, vitamin B12, water-soluble vitamins. But the reason I emphasize fat-soluble vitamins, FSVs, is because this is what people are mainly deficient in. Vitamin A, vitamin D3, vitamin K2 are incredibly important for so many biological functions, and we don't get enough of them due to food quality and lack of animal foods.
Of course, everyone knows you can get nutrient deficiencies if you don't eat a well-balanced diet, or if you've got some sort of health issue on the go which you haven't treated. Of course, it's possible. Everyone knows it's possible to get nutrient deficiencies. But again, you've completely failed to demonstrate, using any evidence at all, that vegans have a higher rate than the general population at getting any of these nutrient deficiencies. You mentioned vitamin A deficiencies. Well, meat eaters also get vitamin A deficiencies. You've mentioned vitamin D deficiencies. Well, meat eaters also get vitamin D deficiencies. What was the whole rickets thing? You don't have to go that far back to see many nutrient deficiencies and many really horrible diseases caused by nutrient deficiencies in meat eaters, not in vegans, in meat eaters. So everyone can get nutrient deficiencies if they eat an unbalanced, crappy diet or have some sort of medical problem which is causing them to malabsorb the food that they're eating. So please provide any evidence at all for your claims. So in 2011, the Institute of Medicine released a report in which they concluded the optimal vitamin D levels of 50 to 125 nanomoles per litre. Keep that in mind as we look at these studies. The EPIC Oxford study showed that vegans had lower levels than omnivores and vegetarians, but still within the optimal levels recommended by the Institute of Medicine. The same with the Danish vegan study from 2018. But in a 2005 study involving Dean Ornish, vitamin D was discussed as being a nutrient of concern for those with limited sun exposure. But why is it then that vegans do seem to have lower vitamin D levels? Is it because a vegan diet is deficient? Or are non-vegans getting artificially supplemented vitamin D somehow? This is dairygood.org, a milk industry biased propaganda website, but even this website will tell you today the milk found in your supermarket is fortified with vitamin D, which has played a role in making rickets now a rare disease in the United States. Wow, so before the 1920s and 30s, when they started adding synthetic artificial vitamin D supplement chemicals to your also natural milk supply, people had rickets and vitamin D deficiency, rampant vitamin D deficiency in meat eaters, not in vegans, in meat eaters, before the 1920s and 30s, when they artificially, synthetically fortified the milk supply with artificial chemical vitamin D. So would you rather get your vitamin D from chemicals added to the milk? And also iodine. The only reason why there's iodine in milk is because of they're using an iodine-based cleaning solution to clean out the pipes in the milk sucking machines. So that's why you're getting iodine in your milk. It's just a chemical. It's a cleaning solution chemical that you're getting that this is ending up in the milk. That's why there's iodine in milk. And so would you rather get your vitamin D and iodine from added chemicals in cow's milk with all the hormones and that estrogenic hormones to give you man tits? There must be a better, more natural source than milk. Some people are telling vegans to just go and eat an egg. You'll feel so much better if you eat an egg, because eggs contain the nutrients that you're missing out on the vegan diet. So go on, just eat an egg. It will cure all these deficiencies which you have as a vegan. If you were going to get vitamin D from eating eggs which weren't artificially supplemented with chemical vitamin D in the chicken feed, you would have to eat between 50 and 100 eggs a day to get those 2,000 international units of vitamin D, which is obviously just absurd. Eating just 100 grams of mushrooms though, mushrooms that have been exposed to UV light, will provide you with that 2,000 IU, which is a lot more sensible.
Ask yourself, where are all the people with vitamin A deficiency and vitamin K2 deficiency in the lifestyle heart trial run by Dean Ornish? Or what about Caldwell Esselstyn's study with 30 years of follow-up? They didn't have vitamin A deficiency and vitamin K2 deficiency in those studies? How come I didn't hear about that? Huh? Nah. Special thanks to Foot Soldier for helping us realize that scare tactics and repetition combine to create an effective narrative that serves to prevent people from going vegan. Now, attributing agendas to personalities can ultimately imply a level of coordination that does not exist. I won't say that Eric Berg is anti-vegan, but rather a pragmatic low-carb promoter whose bacon, eggs, and kale salad weight loss diet simply doesn't work unless you exclude healthy carbohydrate-containing plant foods like sweet potatoes, oatmeal, apples, whole wheat pasta, and any significant quantity of beans and legumes. He has to steer people away from carbohydrates because they are not compatible with his approach. You could argue that the inclusion of bacon and fatty meat as regular staple foods on his weight loss program is one of the flagship elements that has defined his popularity. And this has not gone unnoticed, especially by the likes of the new wave of low-carb social media influencers. Among them, Frank Tufano has embraced a more public-facing, anti-vegan stance. His personal brand strategy involves capitalizing on diffuse disdain for vegans and creating a collection point for angsty, grown, wounded children to assert their keyboard warrior dominance in the endless revolution against eating your vegetables. In a strange way, the fat-soluble vitamin deficiency narrative that we see being passed down from one generation to the next represents the Hegelian dialectic of problem, reaction, solution, with the exception of vitamin D, which is a much larger topic. If you're curious about whether or not you should supplement with vitamin D, I would encourage you to talk with your doctor. The scare tactic narrative being crafted around vitamin K and vitamin A deficiency in vegans appears to be insignificant at any relevant, verifiable level. Again, if I'm wrong, then show me the documented manifestation of these deficiencies in people on a vegan diet. But discussions about what kind of health problems are real and relevant, like heart disease, doesn't offer the same brand growth opportunities as distracting people with concerns about vitamin K deficiency while starting up an online business based on free-range meat drop shipping. Nah. Y'all may remember in an earlier video I mentioned the tendency of reductionism in the carnivore diet community to manifest as solipsism in substitute for masculinity. As you can imagine, his content really doesn't resonate with me, but personalities like Frank seem to be the natural counterbalance to the hypermasculine characters like Dr. Baker. It's important to realize the market for diet advice is a spectrum where narratives are repeated and reinforced across generations. Now, y'all, I want to direct you to a video outlining the difference between carnivores and anti-vegans, which looks at the shifting landscape and increasing radicalization within the low-carb camp. I want you to click the thumbnail that pops up and watch that video or add it to your Watch Later playlist right now.
You all know what time it is.
Next.